Hi everyone, thanks for being here. You know what day is today? Today is the day we're all pixel fighters. Come with me on this journey. Maybe you want to learn to make your own characters, or maybe you haven't even started with pixel art. Nevertheless, today is the day that we're gonna learn and have fun making pixel art characters. But before that, remember that you can support this channel by joining my Patreon and also getting my merch on Redbubble. End of commercial break, let's get started. Maybe you didn't know about this, but I'm making a game called Spaceman Memories, so I'm using these creative exercises like this one to get ideas for the game. So just to give a bit of context, the game is based on Japanese folklore, so if you want to know more about it, you can check out this playlist on my channel. Alright, so we'll be drawing Japanese fantasy creatures, also known as yokai. I wanted to start with something very simple, so I'm gonna start with the 16 by 16 resolution. The first creature that we're gonna draw is called the Akamanto, which is a spirit with a red cloak. I'm not gonna go into the backstory of each of these creatures, but spoiler alert, they're all bad guys. But you know what is more scary than evil Japanese spirits? The sinister blank canvas. So before you start to draw any pixel art character, make sure that you find some references on the web about it. I'm not talking about trying to find other people pixel art, but trying to find something like photos, illustrations, drawings about the creature. This helps you fight against the blank canvas. Also, for my software of choosing, I'm gonna be using Aseprite, but rest assured that you can do all of this in any other pixel art software. So I think that'd be enough for an intro, so let's go and fight against the blank canvas.
Round 1. Fight!
So I got some references and we can start sketching our Akamanto. Sometimes I like to start with the silhouette tool in Aseprite. It is one of the most common used ways of making pixel art. The idea here is to get into something that resembles, at least in a very basic way, the creature that you want to create. I'm always trying to find symmetry on the pieces that I make because it makes my brain understand better the shape I want. Maybe later I change stuff into something asymmetrical, but at first I always try to use symmetry. After getting the form I want, I use the fill tool with the main color of the creature so I can start to give it some visual identity. I'm always trying to use strokes on the border of my characters, as when you're starting, it is the best way to have coherence on your pixel art pieces. Just keep playing with the pixels on the border until you find something that makes sense. Afterwards, I started painting the face, as it is the most fundamental trait to make it look like a humanoid character. I'm using a plain white color as these creature references show it that way, but I will be using other tones for the skin in the next characters. After you get the face, you can start adding some features into the body. As this character is made of clothes, I will just be adding some details to split up the shape of the arm from the body. When I have what I want, I tend to copy and paste these pixels and bring them to the other side and flip them. This is a very easy way of working quicker and with more precision. With the shape all set up, you can start to add some shading into the character. I will be breaking the rules on this character just a little bit, and I will get a darker red that is not part of this color palette, but this is the only exception that I will be making on this tutorial regarding the color palette. Think about the places of the body that should be darker and paint some pixels around there. Keep playing with these darker tones, and bit by bit you will start to see the features starting to take life on the character. I added the white hands that look like they're coming out of the clothes, as they will be holding those blue and red toilet papers that we can see on the references. When your character resembles your references, just start to extend its general shape, adding more pixels and moving them around to see if you can find a better version of it. I thought that I should be able to make the red cloak have more presence on the piece, so I added some more pixels around the head. As you are moving pixels around, you should be aware of not creating edges and corners with double pixels. You should maintain consistency inside the fundamentals of pixel art for it to look decent, especially in these low resolution characters. This is a game, just keep playing with moving pixels around until you find something that you like. As you can see, if your silhouette works, you have all sorts of freedom to play around with your character. See, pretty easy and fun, right? You just gotta use your available space in a smart way. So let's go into the next character. We're gonna be trying to draw the Yamauba, which is an old lady that is a mountain witch and is dangerous. So let's try and raise the challenge just a little bit and work on a bigger canvas. For this piece, I will be using a 16 by 24 pixel canvas on Aseprite. With a higher resolution comes more freedom, but you also have to be more aware of where you place the pixels, as it can start to become very messy. As before, try to start with a silhouette. Maybe it doesn't make sense at the beginning, but remember that the shading is the important thing here and it comes later. Just try to find something that works. With this character, I'm trying to take advantage of the new space I have with this higher resolution. Just keep moving things around, and eventually if you push enough pixels around you will find a cool shape. As in the previous character, when you have the silhouette done, just get the fill tool and use the color of the character, and afterwards try to build the shape of it by adding the stroke. As always, be aware of not placing double pixel corners. This is a basic rule of pixel art and you can break it whenever you want, but it really helps to make things look better. I'm repeating the process here as it is the best way to find a character inside the canvas. Try painting the shape of the face, as this will give you a better general idea of the whole size of your character. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. You can always move things around with the tools available in the software. This character has other type of features like more visible hands, so I will be adding that first before I go into shading the rest of it. I've got the anatomy of my character, so now we will start shading it. I'm going to be using this green tone for the clothes of this lady. This color makes it look like old indicating clothes like in the references. The next thing that I will give this character identity is its hair. I'm going to make an initial version of it with white hair, and at the end I will also add a new layer to have a dark hair version of it. Now our character is starting to make some sense, so we can start adding the rest of the shading. Always find a clear shape and colors before going into the detailed shading of a pixel art piece. As before, find a darker tone in the palette and start adding some shadows where it makes sense. Just think of the light in the most logical way and your main color will really start to shine. My canvas is still small, so I have to optimize the space available, especially with the facial features. A bit of lines here and there can really make a lot of sense in the way of eyes and mouth in these low-res characters. Do the same with the hair, just play around with the lighter or darker tones. You can always go back if something doesn't work. This character has some sort of cane on the references, and this is a nice challenge as adding objects in this small space pushes you to find the best solution to portray your idea. I will be using this blue shade as in one of the references, so it really differentiates from the clothes and the anatomical features of this character. Just move things around. This is the most basic principle of pixel art. Keep pushing pixels until it starts to look as you want. I felt I could even add another layer of shading to this character to give it more personality. Play around with the colors available and try not to get out of the color palette. You can always find one color that suits your needs for better details. If you're not sure about adding new colors, just try it in a new different layer. This gives you more mental freedom to take things lightly. As I said, I was going to try and make a darker hair version of this character, as the references show that there are multiple transformations on this one. Add a new layer and start playing around with the darker tones. Remember, use the same spaces you used before for the highlights and the shadows. After taking your time with the character, it inevitably will start to resemble what you want. It's all about pushing pixels around. Wow, this is getting exciting, right? So how about if we try another character with different anatomical features? So let's try and draw these guys called Kappa, which are a mix between humans and turtles. They sound cute, but in the written tales, they aren't really that nice. Let's start with these turtle guys. An easy way of starting a character is building up the head first and then the lower part of it. This gives you a better perspective of the proportion of the whole character, as sometimes you only start building one part of it and you find out that it was too big or too small. When you've got the lower part and the head set up, you can start working on the torso. This is a way slimmer character than the previous one, but the canvas is the same size. Nevertheless, if you use pixels in the right way, you can make it look taller. Just work on the silhouette. Sometimes it's easy to find, but sometimes it really takes more time. After carving things around, I found the shapes, and afterwards I used the fill color, or also known as paint bucket tool, with the main color of this character. As before, add the stroke. It is the best way to go before adding any details inside the character. This character has no hair or cloak, so the face goes directly into the main shape. Remember, optimize the space, make things very simple. Just keep refining the body until it looks fine. As before, the next step is shading the character with different colors. Remember to keep things clear. Try not to use colors out of the color palette. This pushes you to be creative with the constraints, but also keeps consistency on the piece. I have added some specific features to this character, like the top part of the head, which seems to be of a different material than the rest of the body. It is not that much, but it highlights that this is a different material. Afterwards, I started to add the turtle shirt torso. Just take guide from your references. In no time your character will start to look like them. After I finished shading the character, I started to add some more details, like the back part of the shell. And an easy way of splitting front parts from the back parts of a character is using the black stroke as the border. The human eye understands that those are different pieces. Just keep adding stuff, and as I said before, try it on a different layer. If the end result works, just leave it as it is. See, it's the same space as before, but this character looked like it's taller than the previous one. It's all about moving things around the canvas. The pixels eventually start to make sense. So now we know how to draw our own pixel art characters, but sometimes there are some characters that just have different features and we just need more space for them. There's no other way around it than using high resolutions. So let's just try one more, and we're gonna be drawing the Horogumo, which are women with spider bodies, and they really give me the creeps, but it's a nice challenge, so let's just try this last one on a 32 by 32 pixel canvas. I really hate spiders. Nevertheless, today we're trying to have fun. As before, I will be starting with the head. Find a shape that works and add the torso right away and start adding the legs, as they are the essential features of this character. For this one, the curve line tool was very useful in Aseprite. Nevertheless, you can accomplish the same thing drawing pixel by pixel, it just takes a bit of more time. As I said before, whenever you can, copy and paste and flip stuff to save some time and to be sure that you have the same thing on both sides. We have way more space on this character, but we are still at a lower resolution, so you still have to be wary of how you use it. I kept working on the legs to try to find out the best possible outcome that looked like a Spider-Woman. I'm just trying to find a silhouette because I know that it all comes around like a domino effect. When you find a silhouette, fill your character and add the stroke. I know this is a repetitive process, but it all takes you to the same goal. Making this type of stuff in pixel art can really be broken down into small steps. After I filled the body, I started working on the facial features and her hair. Just add some color to distinguish each trait from the others. After you have the pieces, start adding some shading. In this case, the body already had the darker color available, so I will be adding highlights instead of shadows. Bit by bit, your character starts to take a cool personality. Also, remember to clear any imperfections like double pixel corners and edges. Try to play around with adding details to the interior of your character. Test all sorts of color ideas. Some will work and some will not. Your eye will eventually tell you what works. Just keep pushing it. I finally got something that somewhat looked like a Spider-Woman, but I wasn't happy with its overall proportion. I felt it was a bit shabby, so I moved and deleted a fair bit of pixels of it to make the body look thinner, as spiders tend to be more like that. I kept experimenting with the face to find the most menacing look. I gained some space on the sides, so this gave me a bit more of flexibility to extend the spider legs. I kept moving things around, sometimes adding and sometimes deleting pixels. The only way that you can get to the final version of what you want is to keep taking risks moving things around. I finally got to the spider lady I wanted, so I thought that I should add a bit of more features that make it look like a spider, so I added some highlights to the legs. It's all about experimenting. Sometimes by adding small details in overall piece takes on a new personality. When you get to where you want, you can keep experimenting with the colors of the character. When you already have clear where the shadow, highlights and traits of your character are, it's all about switching colors to turn the character into something cooler. I've seen some bluish spiders and I thought that this lady would look more scary with those colors, so I added some new colors on a new layer. Just keep having fun trying out new ideas. If your silhouette, your highlights and shadows work, you can try all sorts of stuff. See, there we go. We got a spider lady, our final character in today's tutorial. Making all of these characters was sure a lot of fun. See, I told you, the best way to fight against a blank canvas is putting pixels inside it and just moving them around. It's all about pushing the limits of the canvas. Pixel art is such a nice art form because it pushes us inside the constraints of our own mind and the colors and the shapes and everything. It's such fun to make things with pixel art. I hope you had as much fun with this video as I did, because it gives me so much insights for me, for myself, for my game, and I hope that you use them also on your projects. Last but not least, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and see you later.
Feel better about my shortcomings. Sing a little song, do a little dance, smile for the camera. Don't get caught up inside the damage. Bring a little joy, find some quirky friends that you think can stand you. Life's hard with two hands to handle. Break out of the norm, life is pretty boring when there's nothing random. Loop